Thanks for joining us, everybody, today. Good morning to those in the West, and good afternoon to those in the East. Before we go into the slide deck in detail, I'd just like to introduce those people who will be speaking today. So my name is David Beecham. I am a Campus Plus employee, and I'm the Acting Programme Director for the National Industry PhD Programme. Joining me today is Asher Gentle. He is the Director of the National Industry PhD Programme at the Department of Education. And Holly Bell is also going to be on the line. She's going to be working away in the background, as that first slide states there. She's going to be monitoring the chat and processing the questions, which will be fed to me and Asher during the course of the presentation. We will have breaks for questions during the presentation. But Holly Bell is a Campus Plus employee as well, and she's the Director of Operations for the National Industry PhD Programme. Before we go into detail, I just want to pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the country throughout Australia and their connection to land, sea and community. And we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. And I'd just like to pay my respects to the Kaurna people, because that is where I'm presenting from today. So, Campus Plus is the lead organisation in a consortium with Science Technology Australia and Cruxes. And we are the service provider for the National Industry PhD Programme. So we are overseeing the programme for the Department of Education. Science Technology Australia is our marketing communications partner, and Cruxes is the partner that is going to be providing the 12-week training programme for industry-linked PhD students, and more on that as we go into the slide deck. So an overview of today's presentation. We're going to be covering the University Commercialisation Action Plan. Ash will be covering that. And then we'll be moving on to the National Industry PhD Programme objectives and giving some a very high-level overview of the programme and the financial contributions or co-contributions and award structure of the programme. We'll briefly touch upon the training that is going to be offered to the industry-linked candidates. We then will go into detail about the upcoming rounds, and we will go into detail about the programme eligibility, and we will discuss a few changes to the guidelines for round 2. So over to you, Ashley, to give an overview of the University Research Commercialisation Action Plan.
Thanks very much, David, and hello, everyone. Yeah, I thought I'd just give a little bit of background on the program. So in early 2022, the Australian government released the University Research Commercialisation Action Plan. This plan lays out a comprehensive set of interrelated reforms to boost collaboration between universities and industry and drive commercial returns. So the action plan includes the creation of 3 new streams of funding. The first one there is Trailblazer Universities, which was $361 million to support 6 universities to supercharge their research, translation and commercialization capability. So those 6 were announced last year, and they're up and running about a year in now. The second stream there was Australia's Economic Accelerator, a $1.6 billion priority-driven grant program to support projects aligned with national research priorities with high commercial opportunity. That program commences fully from July this year. There's been a pilot program running for AEA called AEA Seed, which is having around $10 million, I think, in projects. And then the third stream there is industry-focused PhDs and fellowships, which is what we're going to look at a bit today. So the aim of that initiative is to build a strong research workforce that has the knowledge and skills to strengthen university industry collaboration, in particular encourage cross-sectoral mobility and encourage further commercial outcomes and practical real-world solutions. So if we can move on to the next slide, please, David. So just looking in detail at the increased workforce mobility measure, the government provided $296 million over 5 years to establish a suite of 6 industry-focused PhD and fellowship programs to be led by the Department of Education, CSIRO, and the Australian Research Council. These programs will support an additional 1,800 industry PhDs and 800 industry fellowships over 10 years. In terms of the individual streams, the first 2 streams are the topic of this presentation, and those 2 combined, the National Industry PhD Program, which is funded by the Department of Education with Campus Plus as a service provider. So the first stream there is, actually I'll let David explain this in a bit. That's the next slide, I'm pretty sure. So jumping onto the third stream there, that's the expansion of the CSIRO Industry PhD Program, which complements the National Industry PhD Program. And streams 4, 5, and 6 there are the 3 different levels of industry fellowships. That program has had its first batch of successful applicants announced, looking at the early career, mid-career, and laureate levels. So yeah, I'll hand back over to David to explain the National Industry PhD Program.
Thanks, Asha. So what is an industry PhD? An industry PhD program is a program that brings together industry and universities to co-design projects that have an industry application, and Asha obviously touched on that in a previous slide. The program aims, there's 4 bullet points there. The program aims to, and Asha did obviously touch on this a little bit earlier as well, but the program aims to develop talented PhD candidates into researchers who can work in both industry and academic settings. And it's there to support industry professionals to develop expert research skills to support the next generation of industry researchers and leaders. It's there to contribute to strengthen industry-focused innovation development through a greater university-industry collaboration. And it supports PhD research projects co-designed between industry and university, aligning with government priorities. And those are the 4 points there, but I will say this. The program is there in combination with all the other programs that Asha mentioned, to change the landscape in Australia to have more closer collaboration with industry and universities, particularly in that PhD space. And as Asha alluded to in the previous slide, there are 2 links, or 2 streams to the program. The industry link stream, this is traditionally led by the university, and when I describe this to audiences, I say this generally maps onto the traditional progress for those talented PhD students who want to pursue a higher degree by research. So it's there where universities have spotted a talented student, or universities have a connection with industry, and they've co-designed a project with the industry partner, and then they go forward and put that into an application. I just want to point out right now, and we will go into detail a little bit further in the presentation, a candidate does not need to be identified at the time of application. So that's what I was saying in terms of it can be led by the university, but this is co-designed with an industry partner. They don't necessarily have to have identified a candidate. That can come later. And the industry-linked PhD stream has a 12-week training program attached to that, which I will provide more detail in the coming slides. The industry researcher stream, this is traditionally led by an industry partner, And this is where they've identified a highly capable employee who wishes to undertake a PhD. And the project, again, is developed in partnership with the university, and the project outcomes have a benefit for the industry partner. And the industry partner, as part of that stream, the industry partner will have to support the employee throughout the duration of their PhD, providing them with salary and benefits associated with their employment. And again, we'll go into a little bit more detail about what that looks like in a little while. Excuse me, I'm just having some difficulties here. So how the program works. The industry and university, as I've said before, they co-design a research project that has an industry application. The duration of the program, full-time candidates, is a minimum of 3 years and a maximum of 4 years. And the crucial part of the program is that embedment of PhD candidates. And again, this speaks to the point that Asha was making in terms of a highly trained workforce. We want the industry linked and industry researchers to spend time in the environments of the university and industry to get that skill set and experience of the different environments so that they can translate research outcomes into industry. And of course, it helps them traverse these landscapes because they've had experience of them, of both settings. These embedment arrangements do need to be outlined in the application form, and they will need to be agreed by all parties in the collaboration agreement. Part-time arrangements can be arranged up to 8 years. And again, these need to be arranged by the partners and described in detail in the application form. I just want to give a brief summary in terms of the training that is going to be available to industry linked PhD candidates. And again, this is going to be provided by Crux, is our partner. This training program is there to help researchers understand the importance of engaging with industry, developing successful pitches, understanding how industry works, and it's there to develop a toolkit for them, again, so they can traverse this landscape of industry and university. I just want to point out there the time commitment. This is 15 hours, should I say. So it is a time frame, but it isn't that intensive in terms of the time frame. And as that last point says there, this will be self-paced online modules, and there will be possibly a face-to-face workshop for participants as well. Just a bit more detail about the training here. Again, that embedding of industry engagement collaboration skills. This is going to form a core part of the training program. And I'm not going to read out all the points there, but it basically builds on the base program, and the time commitment is 30 hours. And you can see from the format there, it's a 2.5 hours online cohort. And we are looking for this to commence, the training to commence in April 2024, and the TREC program in October and December. More details, of course, will emerge as we get closer to these dates, but I just wanted to provide an overview of the training program as it currently stands. So I think this is a very good infographic, and it really breaks down the funding contributions from industry and the award contributions from the Department of Education. So as you can see from that first line there from the industry linked stream, what needs to occur in that stream, there needs to be a minimum of $10,000 per annum co-contribution with the industry partner. And essentially, this all contributes to a top up to the student stipend. So it needs to be 10K from the industry partner. The Department of Education will top that up by another 6K And then does need to be a research training program stipend or equivalent stipend in place. And essentially that will top the PhD candidate stipend up to a minimum of 46k per year. For the industry researcher stream, as you can see there, there's going to be $41,000 subsidy given to successful applicants, successful industry researcher applicants. And that money is there to provide a salary support and other costs associated with the employee undertaking their PhD on a full-time or part-time basis. Regardless of the streams, the last line at the bottom there, participating universities will receive $10,000 per annum per candidate to cover administration costs associated with the program. Up and coming round application rounds. So round 2, it will be opening on the 26th of June, so in a few weeks' time. And we'll be closing that round on the 4th of August. So I believe that gives a 6-week opening window. And we are hoping to have some announcements around awards for the second round by late October, November. And those awards will commence in the first half of 2024. Round 3, the dates, specific dates will be announced closer to the time, but we're currently working on a time frame of opening in November and closing in December, and those awards will commence in the second half of 2024. So these figures here, these are indicative scholarships or awards that will be announced in the coming rounds. Round 1, there was 15 industry linkage awards and 11 industry researcher awards available. Round 2, that increases slightly to 20 and 24, and round 3, I won't read all the figures out there, but you can see these are increasing as the rounds progress. And as that last line there, once we get into round 5 and beyond, there'll be a higher number of awards available per round. So I just want to go over a little bit of detail on eligibility for industry-linked PhD candidates. The program is open to domestic and international PhD candidates. They do need to be supported by a participating university. They obviously do need to meet the criteria to be enrolled in a PhD program, and of course that will be overseen by the participating university. They do need to be awarded, as I said a few slides ago, they do need to be awarded an Australian government RTP stipend or equivalent. For those PhD candidates who have already commenced a PhD, in order to join the program, they do need to be within 12 months of their initial PhD commencement date. And I believe Asher will be speaking a little bit more detail about that in the coming slides. And they cannot have previously completed a PhD program at the time of application. The industry researcher PhD candidate, they must be employed by the industry partner and supported to participate in the program. They do need to maintain their full salary and benefits for the duration of the program. And that's why the subsidy of 41k is there, being offered by the government to facilitate that. Candidates will undertake study and work concurrently, and it's expected that there'll be agreement made between the participating university and industry partner in terms of embedment aspect and time spent in terms of undertaking the PhD project. They do need to be eligible for an RTP fees offset during the duration of their PhD candidature. And like the industry linked stream, They cannot have previously completed a PhD program at the time the PhD candidate applies to the program. The enrolling participating university in the year that they are offered a position within the program, and like the industry linked, they have to be, if they are a PhD candidate already, they do need to be within their initial PhD, that 12-month initial PhD commencement date. A little bit more detail around the eligibility for industry partners. They must be a business organisation within Australia. They have to have an Australian business number, an ABN, or an Australian company number. They do need to be undertaking research and development activities. They do have to identify an appropriate co-supervisor that has extensive experience and business sector knowledge. And it is crucial that this person meets the participating university's requirements for a co-supervisor on a PhD supervisory panel. Like I said in the infographic, in terms of the breakdown of the co-contributions, industry partners need to provide a minimum of 10K per year for the duration of the program. And as I've stated before, they do need to support the candidate for the duration of the program in terms of maintaining full salary and benefits. I'm just going to stop there, Asher, because I know you're up next. I'm just going to stop there. Does anybody have any questions around eligibility? Holly, is anybody?
Yeah, listen, we've got quite a few questions. It might be good to get these ones done and then move on to the next step.
Okay.
Okay, so you have answered these, some of them already, but how can research institutions be involved in this program? Are they eligible as an industry partner?
Can you just say that again, Holly? You broke up.
How can research institutions be involved in this program? So can they be a university, or do they have to be an industry partner?
I see. So, for example, yes, I see. So research institutions can be involved. They can be an industry partner. There are some stipulations around that, and Asher, I think you've got some details around in terms of the financials around research institutions and their affiliation with universities. But they can be. I'll just flag that in the application process, there is weighting given to for-profit organisations. So they just need to bear that in mind when they're putting their applications together. But yes, research organisations can participate. Ashley, do you want to jump in there? Is there some clarification around their affiliation with universities?
Yeah, so research institutes can be considered industry partners if they are not affiliated with the university that they're applying to join the program with.
Yeah.
Okay, Asher, just while you're on the line as well, how is this program being advertised to industry?
I think that might be for David.
Yeah,
okay, David.
So our partner, as I mentioned right at the beginning, STA, Science Technology Australia, is our marketing communications partner. They have been putting out electronic direct marketing materials in the last week. They've been putting marketing materials out on socials. And we're also connecting with industry bodies and peak bodies as well in industry to spread the word. And we're also obviously spreading the word. We have a team on the ground. Campus Plus have a team. We have program directors in the different states and territories in Australia, and we're also spreading word on the ground as well.
Okay, and can you partner with universities in Australia and overseas?
Can you partner with universities in Australia and overseas? Is that with an overseas university?
Yes.
So we'd need a little bit more clarity, but in terms of can the candidate visit overseas universities for a period of time. There is no stipulation in the guidelines to say that they cannot do that. In terms of can an overseas university be part of an application, my understanding is there's nothing in the guidelines which stipulates they can't be part of it, but they can't receive funding through the program in terms of that the breakdown.
All right, I'll just try to get these through quickly. Does the embedment need to be directly linked to the PhD project?
Yes.
Okay, and just quickly, Jane Dwyer's got a couple. Are PhD scholars who are in CRC also eligible for Stream 1, Jane?
So yes, look, PhD scholars who are attached to CRCs and research training centres, yes, they are eligible, yes.
Okay, and how will this work for industry research entities like CRC and similar, where industry and the university are already partners?
How will this work?
Yep.
They will put in their application, they have an existing partnership, and they need to spell out how this project will benefit the industry partners going forward. They just need to bear in mind that there does need to be support for the duration for the PhD program. That's all they need to bear that in mind.
Okay, great. Right.
CSE is in terms of their timelines.
Thanks. All right, well, I'll let you move on.
Okay. Asha, I believe that is over to you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to, I guess, quickly run through a couple of changes to the program guidelines that we're planning for round 2, just to make some clarifications and to some adjustments to improve the program. So the first one's around what do we mean by the first year of a PhD candidature, and the second one's around selection criteria and weighting. So if you jump into the next slide. So a PhD candidate who's commenced their first year of study is eligible to join the program, as long as the participating university approves and all other program requirements have been met. So what we're clarifying is that to be eligible, the PhD candidate must be informed by their participating university that they've been enrolled in the program within 12 calendar months of their PhD commencement date. So that means the university and industry partner needs to apply for the program, be granted a place in the program, and then the university needs to tell the student that they've been accepted for the program. And then when they're told that final piece of information, that needs to occur within the first 12 months of the PhD commencement date. So I understand, there was some different interpretations for round 1 applicants. So we're going to essentially grandfather those round 1 applicants to ensure that any candidates that commence, I think from 13th of April 2022 will be eligible for the program. So that'll slightly extend the period for round 1, just to make sure any previous misinterpretations around this requirement do not disadvantage any students from that round, but that will be just for round 1 only. So moving forward, these will be the requirements specified in the guidelines. Okay. So David, if you want to jump to the next one, I'll just talk through some changes to the selection criteria and weighting. So in round 1, we had the 50% for engagement between university and industry partners, 30% for research feasibility, strategic alignment, and 10% for project impact and capacity, capability, and support for PhD candidates. We've had a bit of feedback around some of those weightings, and we've basically come to the conclusion that they were a little bit out of balance. And so moving forward, we're going to change those to be equally weighted, each of those 4 criteria. So there'll be 25% each for round 2. In terms of changes within, so changes to the sub-criteria within the criteria, for criteria 1, you can see it's fairly straightforward. The percentage is 12.5% for each of those 2 sub-criteria, potential 1.1, potential for long-term collaboration, and 1.2 A and B, strengths and quality of existing engagement or commitment to a new collaboration. Changes for sub-criteria 2 are slightly more involved. For round 1, we had 6 sub-criteria under 2.3, which were relate to the strategic priorities of the program. So upon review, it was clear that there was essentially trying to achieve too many things at once. So we've streamlined those 6 sub-criteria into 3 sub-criteria. So that's now 2.3A, 2.3B, and 2.3C. So the new strategic priorities for round 3 align with National Reconstruction Fund and other government priorities, whether the project is located in a regional location, and whether the industry partner is a for-profit Australian-based organisation. So we've changed some of those weightings. So each of those sub-criteria are worth 5% now. There used to be criteria relating to providing additional stipend support. That's been moved into 4.2. There was a criteria for additional cash or in-kind contributions from an industry partner. That's being moved into 2.2. And there was also a criteria for domestic applicants, and that's being removed from the criteria here. So overall, sorry, I'm just looking at selection criteria 3 and 4. They're just equally weighted. We have made some changes to some of the descriptions around project impact, just to require a bit more detail on the pathways to impact and the demonstration of impact. But those are equally weighted, as is the 2 sub-criteria for selection criteria 4. So that's a lot to take in. Hopefully some of that makes sense, but the idea is this is, more appropriate and also relatively easier to understand moving forward. The previous criteria was, and percentages were in particular a little bit all over the place. So yeah, this is probably a good time to open up for more questions.
Okay, we've got plenty of questions. All right. Yeah. I'm just going to read them quick, answer them quick, read them quick. All right. Do industry partners have to be formally included on the student supervision panel for both streams?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
There needs to be a nominated supervisor, yes.
Okay. Are they also seen as a RES end user for the RTP internship?
I'm going to have more clarity, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, Rebecca first, do you just want to put a little bit more information on that in the question panel, and we'll get back to you on that?
I can probably answer that one.
Okay.
You can, yeah.
Pretty much anything in this program is eligible for the intern waiting for the RTP.
Okay, thanks. What if if I do a PhD project with a university with industry potential, would I need to find additional industry partner to apply to this program?
So I'm guessing this is a PhD student.
Yeah.
They do need to have an industry partner who is willing to obviously provide a co-contribution financially, obviously provide that support in terms of a supervisor. So they do need to have an industry partner there, and they do need to have a collaborative agreement before any project can commence.
Okay, are there PhDs within 12 months of their enrolment who are supported by ARC or CRC funding eligible, or is that double dipping?
They are eligible. They are eligible.
Okay. What about the candidates who convert from a Master of Philosophy to PhD? Is time spent in the MPhil counted towards the first 12 months of the PhD?
Ashton, do you want to take that one?
I think the answer is probably yes, because it's based on the commencement date of the course, which would then be the master's, I'm assuming, unless a new course was commenced.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's it for that batch. I shall go back to the long stream of new messages while you continue.
Okay. Next slide, Asha.
Yes, continue. All right, so applications for the program are submitted through the department's EasyO online platform. So universities are responsible for submitting applications for both streams on behalf of the industry partner and the potential PhD candidate. Every university has nominated a Graduate of Research Liaison Officer, or GROLO, to coordinate applications within a university, and I know Campus Plus communicates regularly with the GROLOs to support the processes around that. Just something to flag, the system has, we're going to add multi-factor authentication for EasyO moving forward. So a warning there that, I mean, most people are pretty used to that by now, but that will be coming for round 2. So you'll need to type in your password and use an app or an email address to get a secondary code. And also just wanted to flag some minor changes to the EasyO application form for round 2, which will mostly be around increasing the word count for some of the selection criteria, just accounting for the increased weightings for, I think, selection criteria 3 and 4 in particular. And then there might be some other minor changes to better reflect the new strategic priorities within criteria 2. Okay, moving on. And yeah, just the last thing from me, I just wanted to summarize the application process so people understand how it all works. So applications are submitted by universities, as I mentioned. They are then reviewed by Campus Plus just to confirm that the applications are in fact eligible for the program. Once that is done, Campus Plus convenes an independent assessment committee composed of university industry assessors to assess the applications. The committee, the recommendations from that committee are then provided to the Department of Education for approval, and we go through the appropriate approval processes on our side, and then the Department of Education will notify successful applicants whether they're once that is finalised, and then successful applicants will need to provide supporting information to Campus Plus to proceed with that successful place. And Campus Plus is also responsible for providing feedback to unsuccessful applicants, because those unsuccessful applicants are able to apply for any further rounds, and yeah, some supporting information will be provided there to assist with applicants to improve their applications for next time.
Yeah, questions. Thank you, Asha. Any other questions, Holly, coming through?
Loads of questions. All right. Does industry include government-funded agencies and any NGOs?
Yes.
Yes. 12 months limitations, does that apply to part-time candidates or just full-time?
Sorry, is that in terms of a 12-month enrolment?
Yeah.
So there'll be obviously part-time equivalents to that timeline.
Okay. All right. So 24 months if you're part-time.
Yeah.
Half-time. Okay. Are there exceptions to the minimum 10K contribution from industry, cash only, or does it in-kind count?
No, they can register their in-kind contributions. I advise people to do so when they're putting applications together, but there is a minimum requirement of a cash contribution of 10K.
Okay, and would a startup or an SME be considered industry?
Yes, they would.
Okay, would state government agencies or utilities count as an industry partner?
Yes, all I would flag, as Asher pointed out in the weighting, that for-profit organisations, there is extra weighting for profit organisations. Yes.
Sure. And similar question, can a hospital be an industry partner?
They can.
They can. All right. Okay, so we're just on questions now. So I shall go through the 21 questions that we've got coming up. All right, here you go. Thank you so much for this. Will the recording be sent? Yes. So everybody, the recording will be sent. We've had a few people ask if we can send the slides. Asher and Dave, Asher, are you happy for that too? The slides to be sent?
Yeah,
Yep.
very happy.
Okay, everyone, I'll send the slides as well as a link to the recording early next week or end of this week. Okay, supervision provision. They have to be adjuncts for supervision.
Is that the industry partner?
I'm going to be saying this is.
Or is that the academic?
Academic.
No, the industry,
Oh,
industry
okay, thanks,
supervisor.
So can they be adjunct? They can be. So as long as they meet the requirements of the participating university to be an eligible supervisor, then that's all that matters really in terms of eligibility.
Okay, if the student gets the university school scholarship, not Australia RTP, will he be eligible for the application?
So in terms of each scholarship, I'm gonna refrain from commenting on each particular scholarship, because each particular scholarship there are conditions around that. So we can probably just take that one offline. If they want to send that to us, we can have a look at more detail, unless Asher knows the detail on that one. But I would just say I'm going to refrain from commenting on specific scholarships, but we're happy to take it offline.
I'll just say that we're mostly concerned that the equivalent scholarship is kind of providing the value of the RTP scholarship, and the basic provisions around leave and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. The application documents include the form and the letter of intent with a mention of a collaboration agreement.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The signed collaboration agreement also requirement for the application.
No. So the collaboration agreement does not need to be in place when applicants submit an application, but it does need to be in place. And as Asher mentioned in the last slide, there's some documentation that we need to receive, Campus Plus needs to receive, and a collaborative agreement is one of them before any funds can be distributed and the project can start.
All right, so in regards to questions and answers that have been in these slides, we will be doing a transcript. I'm not sure that we will actually collate all the questions and answers for this, but there is an FAQ on the industry Department of Industry website, and we can link you to that. And also the guidelines as well has the answers to all of these questions.
Yes, and they will be updated shortly. Is that right, Asher, I think?
Yep, that's right.
And I will say there's also a template there for a collaborative agreement on the department's website. There is a template there for participating university and industry to look at. They do not need to use that template, but it's a starting point for people. All right. If my commencement is March 2003, would I be eligible for round 2? Yes, that's already been answered. I think I've scrolled backwards. All right, let's get to. All right, what is the requirement from independent assessment committee? Is it only for reviewing and making decisions on application? I'm asking this because contact details of the Dean Research was specified. Yeah, so give a quick rundown on the IAC. Okay, so the IAC is chaired by an independent chair. The assessors are from academia and industry. We have a broad pool of assessors already. And we are asking, as this question probably relates to an email we've just sent out, we're asking universities, or should I say GROLOs, for the contact details of Deans of Research and DVCRs, because we have a letter which is ready to go out to universities to see if they would be interested in becoming part of that pool of assessors. So each round, we will basically bring together a pool of assessors to review the industry linked and industry researcher stream applications. They will go through this as a normal assessment process. We have training for the assessors. Then we have a moderation session. So it's very, very akin to other external funding bodies assessment process. Then they obviously they will have a score, and then we obviously compile that score from the assessors, and then we provide that scoring to the department for their review and approval. That's how the IAC works.
Thanks. Okay, so does an industry partner in the industry PhD stream have to have R&D tax incentive or apply for it, or can they just be undertaking research? Because I know this is a big
yes,
they do.
Yes. Ashley, do you want to take the R&D one, or do you want?
Yeah, sorry, that I probably should have mentioned that in the changes for round 2, we have removed that as I think it was a strategic priority previously, but no, industry partner does not need to be eligible for the R&D tax incentive. Just needs
Do
to
they need to be
undertake
undertaking R&D though?
Yep.
They do. Right. Okay, thank you. Ulrich, one of our GROLOs has actually asked, has the list of GROLOs been published somewhere where people can access it?
No, it has not been published. That was a question raised for the last round, and there was some discussion around do we make that publicly available, and it was decided we would not make that publicly available at that time. We can take this back to the GROLOs and have another discussion about that, but it's not publicly available at the moment, no.
All right. If anybody is looking for their GROLO, is it okay if they put a message in here and I'll give them the detail?
All right, yes.
Okay. All right. So if you want to message me directly, please, and put which university you are affiliated with, and I will give you the email address of your GROLO.
And just to follow on from that, we are receiving EOIs for the second round. And when we receive communications from industry who are looking to put forward an application, of course, we can then introduce them to their GROLO. So there is that pathway to get access to the GROLO. It's just we have not put that in public domain.
Okay, so speaking of EOI, David, can you please post a link to the page where the EOI is so that people can just do that directly?
I can. Do you want to do that now?
Yes, please. That would be great. And we're just, so the EOIs, we've just had them on pause for a week or so if you have replied, and we will be replying to those in the next 2 days. We just had waiting for confirmation on dates before we were sending out replies. So Shibam, your question is a little bit too long for me to read, so I'm going to skip it. But we'll get back to you. Yeah, so there's a couple of very long questions. If a student is not awarded an R2P yet, then is a student eligible?
If they haven't been awarded an RTP, are they eligible? They don't have to have identified a student, and they don't have to have an RTP, but they do have to have an RTP if they are successful.
Thank you.
Or equivalent scholarship.
Okay, so Akhil, in regards to feedback on the applications, anybody who wants feedback on their application will be given feedback when we have been told that we can, who is successful and unsuccessful, and those that are not successful, we encourage you to seek feedback before you reapply. Is the minimum cash contribution 10K per annum or in total?
10K per annum, yes, from the industry partner, yes.
Can we please have a Word version of the application?
There are Word versions available, and as soon as the updated Word version is available, that will be posted on the the Department of Education's website.
Yep,
We
and
can also distribute that as well.
yeah, we'll give it to the Growlows as
Yes.
well. Thanks, Renata. Thank you, Jane, for your compliments. We appreciate it. When will round one results be released? So we've been through that already. And if you did miss that, please just view the recording. All right, another long one from Aggie. So Aggie, I'll copy this question down and we will reply to that. So actually, I'm just going to paste this to Asha. I'll send this directly to
I've
Asha.
also pasted a link to the EOI, Holly, by the way.
Pardon? Oh, wonderful. So
Okay.
Asha, I've just sent you a message directly. If you could please reply to Aggie on that.
Excuse me.
Okay, just scrolling back up. All right. Okay. Yes, there will be access to this meeting. Everyone who's joined halfway through, there will be recording and there will be slides sent. All right, Jason wants to know, in terms of disciplinary representation, is there participation from the art, design and architecture industry?
There is indeed. There is indeed. Yes. And I would strongly encourage people from HAS to look at this program. It's there for everyone and not just STEM.
Okay, so anybody asking me for Growlows, please leave your chat open because I'll get to that at the end when I finish going through the questions. All right. So someone who'd like an appointment to meet. So please could you send us a expression of interest through the department's website, and then we'll put you in contact with the correct person. And again, if you have to leave this meeting and you want a link to your Growler, just put in an EOI as well. All right. You listed a number of awards. Do you have percentage rate for successful applicants?
Success rates?
Yes, success rates.
We do have success rates because the round one, as Holly has just stated, hasn't been finalised yet. So there is no success percent like rate for round one at the moment.
Okay, and end of questions.
Oh,
so
okay.
All right, and again, someone else asking about the success rate of round one, but I'm just going to go through all those people who's asked for Growlows, and I shall give that to you. Actually, if you guys want to leave, I'm going to put my email address here. It will be easier for me to reply via email to who's wanting a Growlow. Okay, instead of having to scroll back through. This is for everyone. Here's my email address.
What I'm going to do, Holly, as well, I'm just going to post into the chat the actual DOE page where they can find a bit more information. Okay, so there it is.
Yeah. Okay, so I've put my email address. Please email me if you'd like a Growlow. Yes, so the $10,000 contribution can be in kind.
No, there has to be a cash 10K contribution from industry. The in-kind should be discussed in the application, but there is a minimum requirement of 10K cash from the industry partners, yes.
Okay. All right, and did I have a all right, Mitch has got a new question. I have a question about applications that wasn't answered. What if an application for round one is from an affiliate organization of the university?
He's asking a question about specific application in round one, correct?
Yes.
Look, Mitch, we'll take that one offline. I don't think it's appropriate to discuss individual applications in a webinar, to be honest. But more than happy to take that offline.
Okay. So, Olga, in regards to who owns the IP during the program, I'll let you answer that, David.
So the IP question is something to be negotiated in that collaborative agreement. All I would suggest is to applicants is they seek advice from their university's commercialization or tech transfer office around, relationships and structures around IP in terms of industry engagement, and have those discussions at the earliest possible opportunity. So it's really, really important to have those discussions up front. Now, you don't need to have those finalized for the application itself, but as I say, I'd strongly advise that anybody putting applications in discuss those issues with their tech transfer and commercialization offices.
Thank you, David. And can part of the 10K be earmarked for particular expenditure?
So the 10K, I just want to be clear that 10K from industry is a contribution to the student's stipend. It goes towards their stipend. Okay, that minimum 10K is towards the student's stipend. Now, that's not to say that the industry partner can't put an additional cash contribution into the project for example, research materials, travel costs, etc. But that minimum 10K has to be there as a contribution to the student stipend.
Okay, thank you. And Akhil, I think that just answers your question as well.
Sorry, just it was actually for stream 2. So that was
Okay.
industry researcher, where that wasn't the 10K. That was just a separate agreement and collaborative agreement, which I'm actually in the middle of now. They're requesting financial. It wasn't 40K, but I'm just saying, what is the guideline if they require a funding requirement from the industry partner towards the university, just in for the project.
So are you referring to industry researcher stream?
Yes.
And you're asking, can the industry partner put any additional funding towards that? Is that your question?
No, the question was, is there a requirement for the industry partner to fund a particular, provide funding for the project?
No, there's no requirement in the guidelines for the industry researcher stream for the industry partner to put additional financial contribution to the project, but of course they can do that for the industry researcher stream.
And the university can make that requirement as well, just because the university is making a requirement in my particular situation.
Sorry,
but not for the full 40.
So are you saying, can the university make it a requirement that the industry partner puts a contribution in?
Yes.
For the industry researcher stream? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So in the guidelines, I'll just repeat what's in the guidelines. There is no requirement for the industry partner to put any money into, like for example, the industry links is a minimum of 10K. There's nothing stipulated in the guidelines that the industry partner has to put a cash contribution in, but they can do so, and they can also put an obviously in-kind contribution in. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, do industry researchers who are professionals in the organization also need to meet academic criteria with the same weighting as the industry linkage stream?
Oh, can you just repeat that again, Holly? Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I'm confused too. Do industry researchers who are professionals in the organization also need to meet the academic criteria with the same weighting as an industry linkage stream?
So right, okay. They have to be a suitable supervisor, and that has to meet the participating university's requirements of a supervisor. So many universities already engage industry around co-supervision for PhD students. For both streams, they do need to meet that requirement for that, for the participating university's requirements. So
I think sorry, Ali. For the industry researcher candidates, they also need to meet the university requirements for entry into a PhD, whatever those requirements are.
All right, and what is the benefit of an industry partner?
What is the benefit of an industry partner?
Yeah.
No, to the industry partner.
Oh, what's the benefit?
Oh, hang on, did I misread? Sorry, what is to? Sorry, Rowan. What's the benefit to the industry partner? That makes better sense.
So the benefits, there's multiple benefits to the industry partner. For the industry researcher stream, the benefits are they are going to upskill their employees who are crucial to their R&D development or any other aspect of their business. They're going to upskill their current employees. They're going to have a subsidy from the federal government to do so, and that will hopefully increase output and productivity within the industry partner. It's also a means of retaining talent within a company. It's also a way of connecting with universities and building those relationships with universities. From these types of projects, those PhD projects, can lead to other bigger R&D collaborations. In terms of the industry links, again, the benefit is for the industry partner to have that collaboration with universities. Some are existing partners, some will be new. This will be a way to develop those relationships. It's also a way for the industry partner, and now it's a long time, it's 3.5 to 4 years, but it's also a way for the industry partner to develop or to have an eye on talented individuals to come into their organizations. So there's a lot of benefits for the industry partner through the program with both streams.
All right, so it's 1 o'clock. I'll just do one last question, and I'm sorry we didn't get to the last couple of other questions. Are international students eligible for both streams?
Yes.
That was quick. All right.
As Ashley would say, they do have to meet the eligibility criteria of the university, though.
Okay.
They also need to get the appropriate RTP or equivalent scholarships as well, which the RTP has its own rules around international students.
Yes.
Keep in mind.
Do you want to continue answering questions? What would you like to do, David and Asha?
We can, Asha, have you got a few more minutes, or?
Yeah, sure. But also happy for people to go to the next meetings if they need to.
Yeah. Okay, we'll answer just a couple more. In this scheme, is this scheme the same as the SES scholarship program?
Asha, is this one for you? I've not heard of the SES scholarship program. Sorry, I can't comment. I don't know what the SES scholarship program is.
I'm going to say that if we don't know what it is, it's going to be a no. All right, Jason would like to know, does the participating industry supervisor need to be the primary supervisor for an industry research or an associate? Is there a requirement percentage of the student's supervision required of the industry supervisor?
No, given that they're undertaking a higher degree by research and are participating in university, the primary supervisor, I'm going to probably speak outside the guidelines now, but it would be advisable for the primary supervisor to be embedded in the university. But the industry supervisor does need to be part of that journey.
Okay, so
yeah.
Aggie has put a good point here, and I think this is a new change in the rubric, that new partnerships should be more valued by the program than rehashing long existing collaborations. Can you tell me what's changed in regards to that?
In terms of is there any weighting favouring these
Yes.
partnerships?
Yeah.
Asha, do you want to take that one?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So I know in round one, the weighting of whether it was a previous existing relationship or is a new and existing relationship, has the rating been altered in the rubric? Has the scoring been altered?
It was previously 25% for either an existing or a new, and now it's just been halved to 12.5% for
Okay.
existing or new.
Thank you, Asha. There you go. And Aggie, that's your answer. So it's the SES is a strategic engagement scheme.
Strategic engagement stream.
Yeah.
I'll have to do some homework.
Okay. I think that's a wrap. We've got lots of thank yous. Thank you. And thank you everybody for coming along. We appreciate all your questions.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us today. And as Holly says, the slides will be available and the recording. So thank you all for joining us today. And
we hope to see lots of applications.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And please start sending in your EOIs and email me directly if you want to get in contact with your Grolo. We'll send that across.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.